he/she wants to do, not what the parents want to do. Because parents are proactive, want to help, want to protect. And I told them that's the problem. You have to stop doing so much. You can offer guidance and tools, but these kids have to go out and they have to test them out by themselves. These roles have to be embraced by the responsible party because these are universal things that the kids need. So then when they're faced with the actual challenge, they will fail. They will fulfill that identity because that's how they are wired. That's the mother energy that is missing. That's its role. They have to be able to provide all these things for themselves, but you have to teach them how they are given. They agree that chess training only improves chess skills, but disagree that classroom training almost only improves classroom skills. Subscribe and turn on notifications. Let's get to it. Today we're going to be talking about parenting with beautiful danger. This is from the perspective of a son. So, what is the focus of this? How to raise a kid and give him successful guidance so that he can be successful in whatever he wants to do in life, what he wants to do. He/she wants to do, not what the parents want to do. When I'm talking with parents that want my advice, one of the things that I hear the most, and it's painful because I lived it, is that I tell them, your kid XYZ, your daughter, your son XYZ this, XYZ that. So they ask me, okay, what can we do about it? Because parents are proactive, they want to help, they want to protect. And I told them that's the problem. You have to stop doing so much. The kids need to go out to the world, they have to live in the world, and they have to crash against certain walls based on their personalities because all kids are different. You can offer guidance and tools, but these kids have to go out and they have to test them out by themselves. They can't have you on their shoulder always telling them this is supposed to be used this way, this is supposed to be used that way. So, what's the father's role? The father's role is to offer challenges and navigation, but remember, this is based on a mutual relationship where there's balance between father and mother. Depending on how the situations are, these roles have to be embraced by the responsible party, whether it be adoptive fathers, adoptive mothers, uncles, depending on how the situation is, but someone has to fulfill these roles because these are universal things that the kids need. So, the father's role, again, as I said, is to offer challenges and navigation. What do I mean by this? Slowly giving little challenges to the kid so that he or she can grow accustomed to the uncomfortability of growth. If you give them too much of a challenge, they'll get frustrated and they'll think that they can't do anything, that they can't succeed in anything. If it is too little, it doesn't create growth. So then when they're faced with the actual challenge, they will fail. You have to give them little challenges that go level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, and congratulate them not on the task done, because that's how you build a worker. You congratulate them on their essence, on who they are. You tell them, I'll give you an example. If they read a book, you don't say, wow, you did such a good job reading. No, you tell them, wow, you're such a great reader, because that is on him, and he's always going to carry that around. She is always going to carry that around with themselves, and they're going to have the identity of a good reader, so then they will fulfill that identity, because that's how they are wired. When there's an absence of this father role, remember, I don't mean absence of the father, I mean absence of guidance of these challenges and the navigation. What happens with this? The kid becomes complacent. They fall to the level of where they're at, and then life is just going to toss them around, and they're going to live frustrated because they are not going to have the level 1, level 2, level 3 mindset. So they can go to level 10 or level 16, and then they're going to be completely and totally frustrated, and they won't know what to do. Let's go on now to the archetypal role of the mother, which is to offer rest and love for the next task. Remember how I said a father can fulfill this role. It all depends on the situation, but this must be fulfilled. Because what happens when there's too much challenges and guidance? There is no rest in between. And we all need to rest and learn how to love ourselves and to recharge so that we can go back in. And what happens? Usually fathers that are embracing this role, they give them a challenge, and when the kid fails, they go, try again, try again, try again. You gotta try again. But sometimes we need to step back, analyze the situation, and rest so that we can try with all our energy. And instead of giving 56 half-assed tries and then succeeding in the 57th, we can do 10 failed times and then rest on the 10th, and then on the 11th, we can win. And then we save ourselves 40. But that is something that the mother energy teaches to the child. What happens when there's an absence of this mother energy? The kid, she, is going to always go on head on to the tasks and always burn themselves out and think it is natural. I have a friend that does this in his business. He's always working, and then he tells me, oh, it's my monthly time to get sick with the flu. And I'm saying, what do you mean? And he says, I always get sick with the flu after a month of constant work. And I say, well, yeah, I mean, come on. Don't tell me that I'm the only one who sees this. Listen, you have to incorporate rest in between times where they don't get into your work, and you just take a little space of time so that you can keep working consistently and you don't need to have flus. That's the mother energy that is missing. That's its role. Now, this role is temporary because the kids need to learn how to navigate the material world. That's what the parents are doing. They're teaching them all the material things, how to cross the street, the traffic lights, sports, everything, how to eat, how to go to the bathroom. It's normal. But they have to learn how to provide themselves with the mother and their father and mother role, respectively, by themselves with these archetypal energies. When they grow, they have to be able to challenge themselves and know their limits and grow by themselves without a figure there. And with the mother, they have to learn how to rest, and they have to rest by themselves. Because let's face it, we don't want to say it, but usually, unless it's a tragedy, fathers and mothers are not going to live as long as the kid, because they're going to die because they're older. And then the kid's going to be by themselves. That's the end point. They have to be able to provide all these things for themselves, but you have to teach them how they are given. To all parents, the world is your friend. The world is in danger. It is filled with opportunities for them, but you have to teach them to be balanced in their essence, because they're going to be themselves in every position that they're at. You got to trust your kid. Don't trust the evidence. Trust the abilities that you've given them. This is one of the lessons that I only give to the parents that want to listen to the truth, because there are people that want to listen to this, so I always ask them, do you want the truth? And they say yes, and this is what I tell them. The trust in your kids is not the trust of the evidence that is provided. If you don't trust your kid in a new environment, you did a poor job as a parent, because what you're saying is, we didn't give him the skills so that he could stand alone. That is basically what you're saying when you don't trust them in a new environment. Because if you did give them the skills and you have the advice there, they would come to you for advice. They would have the tools that you've given them. But if you didn't give it to them, they're going out to the world with an empty toolbox and with no one that they can rely on. A little tip, when your kindergartner is telling you to listen to them because they put the red block on top of the blue block, you listen, even if you don't care. You know why? Because then when the kid is 16 years old and he wants to tell you something important, he won't. Because you didn't listen to him putting the little red block on top of the blue block. That's how you teach them from the beginning. A little quote from this book. It is page 105. They agree that chess training only improves chess skills, but disagree that classroom training almost only improves classroom skills. Teach them in the real world. That's the actual classroom. Don't teach them in a controlled environment, because the controlled environment is a controlled environment. Sometimes it does translate, but it has to be a very good controlled environment. The best thing you can do is train in the real world. And the ending message, like a broken son in my book once said, the parent's protection is the child's condemnation.